Hello and welcome to Drive In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we cover two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this week's movie, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Drive In Double Feature Podcast. We have some fun games over there, fun conversations, and you get all that for $5 a month, and you help support the show along the way. But getting back into our movie, we are continuing our series and ending our series because this was a short one with the Deadpool, the last Dirty Harry movie. This one is directed by Buddy Van Horn, keeping up that not bunch of directors made these that not there was never a repeat director for any of this, but this is a Clint Eastwood director still. Directed Pink Cadillac as well as Any Which Way You Can, a classic in my book.
Isn't that one? That one's better than Every Which Way But Loose.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think if you're gonna, I think you can honestly skip
You
Every
really
Which Way,
think that?
but no, I've never seen it. I'm just kidding.
I didn't know. I'm like, really?
No, I would love to have that take. Those two movies might be good for the show, honestly. I can't believe they made a sequel to the Monkey Clint Eastwood movie. Oh, and I just clicked it. It made $70 million. So I can't believe they didn't make a third one.
No.
The monkey probably died.
Well, they did. It was everything everywhere all at once. Or like I was just trying to think of a
Yeah, yeah.
similar title.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood, old as hell with this monkey.
Yeah,
I'd watch it. I mean, he did one with a rooster.
that would be pretty funny if they just like 95-year-old Clint Eastwood, just like with Clyde.
They got Clyde back too.
Yeah, he's alive.
I don't know. Where is Clyde?
I mean, he's got to be dead.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know the lifespan of geese or chimps.
Or well, he was I think he was an orangutan. I don't think he was a
Orangutan.
chimp.
You're right. I wonder what their lifespan is. But anyway, I don't want to dig into that. That would take.
I want to dig into that.
We would
We'll
be
deal with that later.
swinging out of this movie. Yeah, we'll deal with it later. How about that one? We are talking about the Deadpool. Yeah, Clint Eastwood is back as Dirty Harry, and he's looking
No, what you mean?
old.
What you mean? He's back as Wade Wilson?
Wait, yeah. Did you confuse Ryan Reynolds for Clint Eastwood when you watched Deadpool?
Yeah. Well, like when I watched Deadpool, I was like, man, Clint Eastwood. Yeah, he's looking good in this
Yeah,
movie.
wow, he's looking handsome, and he's gotten a little more sarcastic, and I think that's funny.
He's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I love when he had the little baby hand. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that was funny. But no, you watched the wrong Deadpool. We're watching the Dead Space Pool, like like with a space in
Dead
the middle.
Space.
Yeah, oh wow, oh my God. Uh, no, we're talking about the detective movie. Oh my God, I just read this. I don't even know where where he's at. This film features an appearance by future Mario voice actor Charles Martinet. Did you catch this cameo?
As whom?
I don't know. Hell, this is just coming in, brand new news. He played the police station reporter. So maybe he was just a voice? Ah,
I don't know.
interesting.
Did you hear Mario in the movie at all? Did you hear
Yeah.
his voice?
Yahoo! Yeah, he dubbed in Clint Eastwood for this movie. Yeah, swell. I don't know. Better than how he says swell.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Clint Eastwood keeps up as a catchphrase in this movie from the last one. Even though I don't think that
He's
catchphrase caught on.
no, yeah, nobody has like the swell like
The
Clint
swell
Dirty
shirt.
Harry.
You remember when they were making
Well,
a Dirty Harry video game?
didn't they?
No, they didn't. Well, sorry, a new one. They were making one for like the
Oh,
360, and they had like a trailer for it, and it ended with "Do you feel lucky, punk?" But wouldn't it be funny if no famous lines, but in the end he went swell? Yeah,
or the other one they tried to make happen in this movie is like, well, I guess you're shit out of luck.
yeah. That one I'm okay with. That sounds like a Dirty Harry one. It goes well with the "you're dog shit." You know what we do with dog shit. I don't know. I do love the idea that he sits in the shower and he like practices this. He's like, okay, what am I gonna use today?
He probably does. He probably like looks at himself in the shower and just like he's got like a little mirror in there and he's like running through his lines,
Yeah, and
like
how to
trying out
say it
different catchphrases.
perfectly.
He's like doing like the finger guns like in the mirror.
Yeah. He's pretending to have his gun. I would love to see it. But no, I mean, we don't see him ever again, and it's probably a good thing. Like I said earlier, he is looking really old. Like
Yeah.
he's definitely getting old for this role, which is crazy that he's still kicking and he's not in movies anymore. I don't think he's planning on being any more movies, but he's been in movies well past this one.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but still and what's funny, I do like the way this movie opens where Dirty Harry's actually a hero for once. Like they get the crime lord, the mob boss, and they're like, this is
Gennaro.
yeah. And then they're like, it's all thanks to Inspector Harry Callahan. And everyone loves him. You know, they got newspaper reporters wanting things. He's on the cover of like San Francisco Weekly, so I don't know, some magazine. Uh
Well, he's like a celebrity in this movie. I mean,
mhm,
like like news reporters like wanting like an exclusive story with him,
mhm.
and he's famous enough to literally be in the Deadpool. Like,
Okay, that's the thing. I thought this was maybe pushing it too far. Like I get it, he's a hero cop, but yeah. So this movie is about like a celebrity death pool. So like a bunch of people pulled together to say what celebrities are going to die by the end of the year, and so and the thing with the movie is that these people are actually dying on the dead pool, and Harry ends up on it. And so I do not buy that Harry is a big enough celebrity to enter on in on this. But it is specified by Samantha Walker, who's played by Patricia Clarkson, who plays a reporter. She's like, these are Bay Area celebrities specifically. She says that, and I think that's the criteria is so weird on this.
I never understood like what the criteria was, because like all the people they name, like they're all like Johnny Squares, Jim
Rock
Carrey.
star. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's like a legitimate star,
hmm
and they're just like, no, like this is just like a local guy.
Yeah, same with the direct. No, the director isn't on the death pool. What am I saying? But still, it's like, yeah. I don't see what's happening here. The connection, but whatever. I'll roll with it. So Dirty Harry. I always call him Dirty Harry. No one calls him Dirty Harry in these movies.
Like
Um,
he got called Dirty Harry one time, and well, I don't even know if he got called Dirty Harry. They just said he's dirty,
yeah,
and
exactly.
so
I,
that was just in the first one, I think.
yeah, exactly. And they've asked him, "Oh, they've said like, "Oh, you're really dirty, aren't you?" They don't even make that a point in this one. That because he's supposed to be kind of I mean, of course he's still an asshole, but he's a little more heroic in this one.
Well, in this one, like they do the same bit, like I think for the last two movies, they do like the bit where like it's like, Harry, you're out of control," like, and they're like, we're taking you off the force,
Yeah,
and
you're not going to see me pushing papers, that
and
garbage.
I'm like they literally did that the last two movies. Like it's like we get it, like,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I and that plot thread doesn't even last that long, because I think like 10 minutes later they're like, okay, you're back in homicide.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it's the same scene. They say, like, the conversation starts and they're like, oh, you're going to be working the desk. And he's like, no. And literally, he says no. And everyone's like, okay. Because Harry goes, I'll resign. That won't look good for you if I get taken off homicide. And they're like, oh, okay. I guess you'll stay. Harry has more power than everybody in this police station. And that's all I've learned from this movie and the last movie that they can't even fire the guy. He's got like tenure at this at the police station. Um, but yeah, that's funny because he does get a partner who's guess what? He's Asian now, so he's got it's going all around women, blacks, and now Asian.
The dog.
A dog, yeah, like he's got to like be paired up with everybody. But the thing is Quan. I kind of like Quan. I think he's an interesting enough character. He doesn't have a lot of
I
depth. I'll say that.
He's no, he's still very shallow, but at least they try to give him like some type of backstory.
hmm
And one, because he's Asian, he knows martial arts.
Oh my God, when that happened, I was like, oh, of course. And it's so out of nowhere. Like he gets a criminal and he like kicks him and hits him and he's like doing spins. It's so out of
Yeah.
nowhere. But Harry approves. He's all about he's like, okay, cool. I'm happy to have you with me.
Um, they they get along just fine. Like I think
Yeah.
like at first, he's just like, he's like, oh, like you're gonna get hurt, kid. You might as well just like be prepared to die now, type of thing.
Yeah, and tells him to wear a
Eh,
bulletproof vest.
yeah, and um, he's fine, and he's better than the one from I think it was Magnum Force.
Yeah. Where the one that just gets blown up.
Yeah, the one that gets blown up in a car with his in the mailbox or whatever.
Yes, yeah. Um,
So he's better than that, but again, it just feels like it felt more like they were just kind of like checking the box. It's like, okay, we got the new
mhm.
partner, check. They disagree on some stuff. All right.
Yeah, and I think that's you're kind of getting at the point of like, so I enjoyed this movie, but it I think it's a good thing it ended here because I do think the idea is getting maybe a little stale. Like it felt like a rehash. Like, I've seen this, it's got all the check marks, and also the plot's a little outlandish in this one more than ever. And I feel like if it kept going, it would have just gotten worse.
I agree. I mean, like it was a very tired formula by
Yeah.
this point, and they don't think they ever did anything really to change it up.
Hmm.
And I mean, this one came out in '88,
Pretty late.
right?
Yeah. 88.
So back when like they had like, oh, this is a rogue cop, he's going beyond, like that was kind of like a novelty, that was something different back in the '70s.
Hmm.
But like now it's like the '80s, and now it's like every other action movie is like a renegade cop that
Exactly. And
plays
it's
by their own, so it's nothing new that we haven't seen.
exactly. So that's why it starts to feel a bit like a rehash. And when you have someone as old as Clint Eastwood playing that role, it just doesn't, it's just not feeling as fresh anymore. And I think the plot gets a little silly. So there's a film in town, and then it's directed by Liam Neeson, which is crazy to me. A very early Liam Neeson role.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got a horrible haircut, just a god
Yeah.
awful haircut. He's got like that like strand of hair hanging down, and another character has that too, which that makes sense for later in the movie. Um, and also Jim Carrey is starring in this movie, singing "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns N' Roses, lip syncing it. Um,
And
and
he's like doing his Jim Carrey faces and stuff while he's
they had
singing it.
he had to get it in. He had to get his faces in because I don't think it's supposed to be comedic.
No.
Yeah.
I,
Uh,
I mean, well, thank God for Earth Girls Are Easy, where he got his big break.
yes, exactly. I'm happy. Well, what are you talking about? This was his first serious role. That scene where he takes in the heroin and he gets he slides into being high. So good. So good.
Yeah, Oscar
Uh,
worthy.
yeah, Oscar worthy. Um, Yeah, no, but Jim Carrey's out of the movie fast, and he gets killed. And then they find out that there's a death pool from the director. Literally, this is actually kind of messed up. That the film crew has a dead pool, and Liam Neeson has the star of his movie on his death pool, and he's young too. It's not like Jim Carrey's old or anything. It's just like, oh yeah, he would die from a drug overdose. So I think the movie wants you to think that, oh, he's killing them to win the Deadpool or whatever, but that's so obviously not what's going on. Like that's not even a mystery. I knew what was happening very early in the movie, and I honestly think it's dumb. It's a fan who really loves the director who's just killing people connected to him and pretending to be that director. He's an obsessed fan storylines, especially this one. It just feels so outlandish. It's just not, I don't know, it just brought nothing interesting.
Well, I just didn't think the killer was interesting, like in the slightest
Yeah.
either, because I mean, yeah, he's like a crazed fan, but it's like they don't do anything to like build up the lore of this guy, or like we don't
Hmm.
see him at all until like the very end of the movie. And yeah, they kind of make like they because they figure out eventually who it is, and they go to the Liam Neeson. He's like, oh yes, it's the very crazed fan. Like I told him to leave me alone, and I got a restraining order, and I haven't heard from him since.
Hmm.
Um, I think like it was like that kind of whole bit was very like an afterthought
Hmm.
type of thing. It just didn't feel like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's almost like they weren't interested in that reveal when I think that's the most interesting, that could have been the most interesting part, right? Like, think about a movie we've covered on here, um, The Fan, which I think I mean, that movie's not like an amazing movie or anything, but that actually delved into a crazed fan. You got a little bit more feel of it. And this, it's almost played like a reveal, right? Because you don't see his face until the end of the movie. And it's like, and then it shows his face like with light, and it's like, what am I supposed to get out of this? Am I
Yeah.
getting anything? I don't know. It's definitely just kind of poorly done. I think this movie's really focused on Harry and his relationship with Walker, the news reporter. For whatever reason, it's almost like Harry hates reporters, and then he learns to love reporters by the end of the movie because he likes this woman enough. Which is,
Well, yeah, because
I don't
she
get that
because
arc.
she went because she wants to sleep with him.
Yeah, of course, of course. Also,
Like Harry's still like a ladies' man. He literally does not have to try at all to get with women.
no, he's like working out. This old man's working out at one point, and there's like a woman working out, and he's like, "Hey," and like I think it works. I think his charm works in the gym.
Like, do you notice too, like, so like Quan, who's like the younger one, and he's like doing he's fit, he knows martial arts. Like
Hmm.
how many like there was at least two scenes where they made him like, okay, we're gonna show that he's completely inferior to Harry. Like,
Yeah, I only can think of
oh
the one where he can't lift the weights, and Harry has to like help him with that.
no, the other scene is where they go jogging, and then like Quan's like, oh, that's too
That's
much for me. And
right.
like Harry's like still going, like, what? Like, I can still
That has to be Clint Eastwood being like, "Hey, I got to be the strong one here," right? Like
yeah.
something. Oh my god, that's so silly. I didn't even think about that. Like that's like a power play. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the middle of this. I do think there's a fun bit where they go to the mob boss, Clint Eastwood, because from the inside he's trying to kill Harry. That's a subplot of Harry trying to outrun these like gangsters that are trying to kill him. Probably the most exciting parts of the movie because there's a really good scene where the cars are crashing and he's blocked on two sides getting shot at, and he has to flip his car to get out of it.
Hmm.
That's a really fun action scene. There's good bits like that, and like I said, he goes to the prison to stop the mobster, and he gets like a really strong guy to be like, yeah, that guy, he's gonna kick your ass if you mess with me again, pretty much. Which I thought that was a fun subplot, even though like,
Well, yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Well, then the mob boss is like sends bodyguards for
Yeah,
Harry.
Harry thinks he's getting like killed, and they're like, no, 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 it's not like that. We're trying to protect you.
Um, yeah, the only other I like that bit. And I also liked like the little car, like the RC car thing, the bit of the RC car.
That was so bizarre. That does not feel
Yeah.
like from a Dirty Harry movie.
Dirty Harry is trying to outrun an RC car,
Yeah.
which I mean, those cars don't go very fast compared to like an actual car.
But the way this is shot, it's like the most like tense action like scene with this RC car going racing towards Harry's car.
Well, yeah, and then like, well, it's like they hit this hill and the car gets launched, and then
Mhm.
like the RC car takes the same hill and it gets like launched. It's like, like it's
It's
doing like a
kind of
slow mo of
funny.
that.
There's like a part where he like revs from zero, and then like he does like the RC car does like a wheelie to like catch up to him. And it's because the RC car is a bomb, and Harry doesn't get out of that situation. He still gets blown up, but it.
That that part was like, so when they shot it that way, it shows the car going in, and you think Harry's about to like pull out.
Yeah.
But he pulls out just enough so like just the front of the car gets exploded. But like when they show the explosion, it's like the whole car gets exploded.
It made
And it's like,
no sense.
and then and then Harry gets, oh, I'm fine. But then of course Quan, he's like,
He's like on
oh,
his deathbed. Yeah, the
yeah.
way the explosion looked, it was like I was like, okay, so they jumped out of the car in time or something, right? Because this explosion would kill, but no, it was just it hurt Quan, and then Clint Eastwood was fine, and then it was an explosion, but Quan's bulletproof vest saved his life in this situation.
There is one person in the death pool, um, that's just Molly Fisher, and she's a film critic,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets brutally murdered. Do you know that there's a reason why that she's a film critic?
No, but now I'm starting to connect the pieces.
So, have you ever heard of the critic Pauline Kael?
Pauline Kael, no. Mm-mm.
So she was like probably like at the time like the most famous female movie critic. And
Okay.
she absolutely despised Clint Eastwood's movies.
Really, just like every Clint Eastwood movie she
Well,
hated.
like she called like the Dirty Harry movies like fascist movies, and like basically called them like, oh yeah, this is like if the Gestapo made like
Oh
a
my
cop movie.
God.
And and she just did not like the politics of Clint Eastwood. And
Hmm.
I know there's a lot like on both ends type of thing, like because I'm leaving out a lot probably, but it's a really funny topic to learn like how much she did not
Yeah.
like him, and then Clint Eastwood, like how much it just like drove him crazy that
This one
how
critic didn't
much.
like him.
So like she came out with a really bad critique of The Enforcer, which we covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so Clint Eastwood took her review and like gave it to a psychiatrist and like told them to analyze like who Pauline Kael is as a person, like based off of this review. And the psychiatrist that Pauline Kael was secretly in love with Clint Eastwood.
Oh my God.
And again, this is all just like hearsay, like, but
Yeah.
like I, and I don't know if that's actually, but that seems to be like the narrative that at least that Clint Eastwood is trying to push, is like she was secretly in love with him and everything. But she would go out of her way, like anytime Clint Eastwood had like a critically acclaimed movie, like Outlaw Josie Wales or
Hmm.
like anything like that, she would always ignore those movies. She would never watch them or review them. But like anytime he did like a horrible movie like Bronco
She would
Billy or
watch
something,
it.
like she would watch it and review it then. Like,
I kind of love her. That's so funny. Just like just like Unforgiven, like an amazing Western. No, I'm not gonna go see that, but I'm gonna make sure to shit on Clint Eastwood.
yeah. So uh she did not like Pauline Kael at all,
Hmm.
because he would always be so annoyed. So they intentionally put Molly Fisher. So woman is supposed to be Pauline Kael. Okay. And
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God.
and she gets brutally murdered.
I hate when like God, that because that's not the only time something like that's happened. I think about Independence Day where they have the characters making fun of Siskel and Ebert in it.
No,
Uh
that's Godzilla.
sorry, Godzilla, you're right. But still, it's like it's just like God, you let them get to you that bad. Like this is just one lady who, I mean, it sounds like she like whatever politics or whatever. It sounded like she did have something maybe against Clint Eastwood for what she was doing. It's just like you can ignore it. Just that's
Yeah.
don't kill her in your movie.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know who like what the actual narrative. I do know like that seems to be like the angle they were going for, or at least Clint Eastwood was trying to put. She's just in love with me, and that's why she's doing it. She wants attention,
Yeah,
type of thing.
yeah, exactly. They should have gone on a date or something. Or you
Yeah, why
should have
not?
asked her for a date. Why not? Like Robert Pattinson did with his stalker or whatever.
Oh yeah, and then which I think that story is bullshit. Where
I
it's just
think
like,
it
I,
can't be true.
I like I took my stalker out on a date and I was moaning so much about the press, and then she got bored and left.
Yeah, doubt it.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
was like, it's like that's true. Like, what a terrible stalker. I mean,
I
like,
know, right? Like, I think about like some of the worst stalkers that I've heard of. They would have jumped for joy just to even be in
they
your
would have been
presence
hanging on every word.
and be like, "Oh, you're so right. You're so right." Yeah, this must have just been somebody that just like, yeah, I like Robert Pattinson. Maybe just a
Yeah.
little too much. But anyway, that once again, that's a little off the point. But then, I mean, honestly, that's kind of it for the Deadpool. I think the ending is kind of weak for this one. Uh, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, he kills with the giant harpoon, which is shown earlier with the actual Guns N' Roses band in a scene that they're filming. Like Slash Axl Rose is there, which is I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, there's like a fake heart. It's not fake, obviously, but there's a giant harpoon gun, and yeah, Harry kills the bad guy. And that, yeah,
And
it's really goofy.
as soon as he gets shot too, like he shoots him with the harpoon gun, like police arrive. It's just like as soon as like the guy dies, like the police all show up and he like and
Mhm.
oh, and then there's the other bit too, where like the guy wanting to set himself on fire.
Oh yeah, and he's like, and he goes in as a fake reporter, has the camera on him, and he's like, "Oh,
Hmm.
the reporters like, we're not going to record you kill yourself." So and then
And then yeah, Clint Eastwood's like, all right, you've had your fun, let's go. And the guy's
Mhm.
like, okay, and then
I won't do it. Yeah, see, he was just looking for attention. That's what the way all of those people are, right?
yeah, but he
That
still gets
sounds
set
like
on
the
fire
politics.
anyway.
Yeah, but he gets saved. Clint Eastwood pushes him out of the fire. What a hero.
Yep. What a
Yeah,
nice guy.
this is probably the most heroic he's been. Also, Clint Eastwood does have one pretty famous character catchphrase in this movie, and that's opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Like, okay, so he does have one
Did that
line.
come from this movie? Like, did it originate from there, or is like that?
According to Wikipedia, with a hyperlink, it has a hyperlink that this was coined and that catchphrase was coined in this movie.
Wow, all right.
Yeah, because you've heard it a lot, like other places, right?
I mean, I never heard swell until I saw this movie.
Oh, swell. I kind of like that word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Deadpool is fine. It's fun. I was entertained for a little bit, but it's definitely not the highs of the series. And like I said earlier, I'm happy it ended here because I could see it just getting worse and worse. It's just getting a little tired at this point.
Absolutely. I was at that point, I was just kind of like ready for it. I was like, okay, like they've done all they can. They've milked whatever they could out of this franchise. Ed.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess that's the Deadpool. But Ryan, remind us. Well, I guess we should say
Are we
what's up?
gonna rank?
Oh yeah, we got to rank them. But first, I'll say I'm going to slightly recommend. God, it's a hard one. Slightly recommend, but watch the other ones before this one.
That same.
Yeah. All right. Let me pull up all the Dirty Harry movies. But Ryan, I think because we finished out this franchise, we should go ahead and rank them. That's what we do for all of these. But the worst one is God, it's pretty close. I have to think about it kind of because it's a mix between this and the Enforcer. I think the Deadpool is the worst one. I once again just kind of the tired formula. It's just a little far fetched with its plot. So I think this one is the weakest one.
Yeah, I would agree. For me, it was just kind of like, like I know it's like it's definitely a good entry into the series, but it was kind of like it's still kind of like a very weak ending to the entire franchise, to be quite honest.
Yeah, exactly. But Ryan, what's your next one?
My next one would probably be I would probably say the Enforcer, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I alluded to that too. That yeah, the
yeah,
Enforcer would be next.
I I wanted a little more out of the relationship between um Harry and the female Kate, I believe her name was in the movie, but
Mhm.
I wanted like just the fact that they made her like so incompetent. It's just like they were almost like trying to prove a point of like
Women
oh
are
she was just
incompetent
kind of like
cops.
well it's just like oh well, she was clearly chosen because she's a woman, not because she's a good cop. Not until like the very end of the movie like she did something like worthwhile. So I don't really I didn't really care for it, so I would probably put that one in the number 4 slot.
Yeah, that's what I put in there. And pretty much the same reasons when I look back on it is that I just think they mishandled his partner in that movie, and she just feels like she just could have been better. They could have done a better story with that, and just ends up coming out weak, especially when they kill her off in the end.
Mhm.
My third choice would be Sudden Impact. I think sudden. I mean, and this is like I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about these movies past this point. I think Sudden Impact is really good stylistically. I think it has a fun plot. I think when I look back on it, and you pointed it out, I think the ending kind of is a little funky, where he's like, you know what, vigilantes are okay, which is seems totally against what Harry did earlier. But I do think this is a really fun entry and actually delivered something different for the franchise with a villain that you actually understood and got a decent backstory for. So that's why it goes above the other two.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a worthwhile enough and interesting enough premise. Just not. I just didn't like it as much as I did the other two.
Yes. Yeah. But
My
yeah.
number 2 would definitely be Magnum Force.
Okay.
Um, I probably like one of the better acting performances from Clint Eastwood, and just the fact that um like the villains in those were super interesting to me. It's just like cops that were just basically taking the law like into their own hands and becoming their own executioners, and just like they would only murder criminals that like deserved it or got off, and they would do it in like really brutal ways. And just the fact that it was like Harry versus like a bunch of guys types of thing, I really enjoyed that. Was because it was kind of like Harry like kind of take them out within the system.
Yeah, that I almost was thinking about putting Magnum Force at number one. That's how close it is for me. I really like both those movies. I even think I said I liked it better than the first one when I recorded it. I do think for me, I'm gonna put Magnum Force at two. So we're gonna have the same exact list, which is funny. But
Well, you don't know what I'm gonna pick for number 1.
yeah, who knows? You might switch it up on me. You might pick Dirty Huh. Uh, but no, it's a great movie. It really is. I love the team or the team of villains that he goes against. And like you said, Clint Eastwood is this is pure Dirty Harry. This is when you think of Dirty Harry, I think it's Magnum Force Dirty Harry. He's really into his role. Um the mystery of it all was really good, and I like the police captain villain, like being like the major overarching villain, really good. But the reason I would put Dirty Harry, the first one, at the top, and I really think it's status. It's its iconic status. There's so many things to remember about that movie and so many things to enjoy, such as Scorpio being such a just an amazing villain, really well done villain. Clint Eastwood has all the iconic lines. He also does just random. He's just out solving crimes. Probably a good chunk of this movie. Really, just seeing what he does. I like that angle. It's just like all around a really solid cop movie.
It's kind of like a video game or like something like a GTA where it's like he has like a main story mission to do, but then like he's got like all these side missions that
Yeah,
pop up
kind
that he has
of.
to go attend. So
Yeah, and
I
we get to see
I
that.
I like that probably the best is just like we got all these little vignettes where it's like the day in the life of Harry. Like this is how he would take out like a suicide jumper or whatever, it's
Yeah.
just so it's it was good. I like that one probably the best. Scorpio is unhinged, so he's great as a villain in
Hmm.
this one.
Yeah.
So that's why that would be my number 1.
Yeah. So there we go. There's Dirty Harry ranked. No differences there. We're not fighting at the end of this one. Sorry, guys. Maybe the next
We
series.
we fight when we're off mic.
Yeah, exactly. I'll change it up. I'll say Sudden Impact is the best one. Um, But no, I do think that puts the end on Dirty Harry. We'll wrap it up for this one. But Ryan, remind us, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're gonna do a European kaiju movie. We're gonna be doing Gorgo, and that is on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to send us an email, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. You can also head over to Patreon and be sure to like, subscribe, comment wherever you're listening to this from. But until next time.
Until next time.